Hello and welcome back to the channel. What we're going to be covering today is how I added 30 kg to my deadlift in 4 months using the dumbest, simplest, most caveman brain progression that I've ever seen. So whether you're plateaued or you're just looking to get a little bit better at deadlifts, this might be the system that makes all the difference. So here is how it works. It centres around AMRAPs. What an AMRAP is as many reps as possible within a given set. You will take your deadlift and you're only going to do one set of deadlifts a week. And you're going to take 50% of your 1 rep max and do as many repetitions as you can. When it gets to the next week, all you're going to do is add 5% onto that 50, so it's 55% of your 1 rep max. You do as many as you can and you try and match what you did with the 50%. Now, what's most likely is that you will miss that number, but by in your head saying to yourself, I'm going to try and match my performance the week before, what you're doing is you're actually really pushing yourself, and you'll probably get more reps than you would have done if you just went, oh, I'll see how I feel. So it is always good to really push yourself and challenge yourself when partaking in this protocol. That is how the program progresses. So every week, kind of regardless of your performance, you just add 5%. So your first week is 50% of your 1 rep max. The next week, it's 55% of your 1 rep max. The week after that, 60%, 65%, 70, 75%, so on and so forth. Now you do that, working up each week, doing as many reps as possible on your 1 AMRAP set, but once you get to the point that you can't do 5 repetitions, so maybe you get up to 90% of your 1 rep max, and you can only do 3 or 4 repetitions, then you know that you're needing a reset. At that point, you can plug that number in to a 1 rep max calculator, recalculate your training max, and start the system from scratch, working up to your new 50% on your first week, which will be higher than the 50% you started with. The reason that this method works is that it focuses on kind of work capacity and plugging leaks in your form by using submaximal weight. You know, a lot of the times people are not used to getting a unique enough stress, a kind of high enough stress on the kind of supporting structures within their deadlift. So, you know, that can be things like your grip strength, the ability of your hamstrings to kind of tolerate fatigue, even, you know, your glutes, etc. All of these things will come into this, because when you do test into those kind of higher rep sets, you will find that basically everything burns. In certain areas it might burn that you're not really used to. The other part of this is you obviously take a really long time to acclimatise yourself to weight. It's almost like you're kind of sneaking strength gains in. With this one, what kind of really comes to mind is that Milo of Croton story about the man that carries the calf on his shoulders. One day, you know, he gets a calf, he carries it on his shoulders, but every day he feeds it, it gets older, it grows, and because of that, the calf gets heavier, eventually to the point that he's not lifting a little calf on his shoulders, he's lifting a giant bull. There are so many benefits in working with lower weights. Obviously you're getting a lot of practice in this protocol. Something that I really do as a tip, want people to do when they do this, is try and start off with no straps, no belt, really kind of build up, go double overhand with your grip, you know, really try and work on the forearms, that kind of work capacity, you know, make yourself a kind of more robust deadlifter. And it means when you add things like the straps and the belt back in, it's going to feel like such an assistance to you. Whereas if you just kind of reinforce current weaknesses by relying on them too early, you're leaving gains on the table. My next tip for success is write everything down. Write all of your attempts down. This is important to track how much you've done the week before, and it means that when it comes to resetting your rep maxes, it means that you can compare one cycle of the protocol to the other. So, you know, for instance, you've added 10% to your training max, you want to be making sure that your reps with a given weight are getting better. You know, for instance, if 80% of your 1 rep max last block was 100 kilos and you got it for 10 reps, you would want the next time that you work with 100 kilos in a kind of reset block, you'd want to be getting more than that. You'd want to be getting, you know, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's really important because you can kind of get lazy if you don't know where you need to progress from. So the more information you have, the more kind of opportunities you have to push a little bit harder than last time and grind out so that you can make these targets that you've set for yourself. The next tip is to be consistent with your form. You know, I think that this is probably best done very clean, very technique oriented, you know, pushing to the best of your ability, and really grinding through it, but keeping, you know, the back flat. There's no point in doing this protocol if you've got a cat back. Changing your form as you do it. You know, if you're coming from a dead stop every single rep, and then maybe 2 weeks into it, you start to bounce your deadlifts, that becomes a problem because what you've done is you've made it equivalently easier. So then at that point, it basically becomes a different exercise. So you're not maybe reaping the benefit because you're not necessarily progressive overloading. You're making the movement more advantageous to you rather than disadvantaging yourself and grinding through it. You're almost surpassing the hard part by doing that. So, you know, really pick a way of doing it and stick to it. The next tip is don't get greedy. Don't be looking for the next jump. You know, you might feel great in the gym. You might feel like you want to pull a 1 rep max or something early. Don't do it. Don't go, oh, I progressed 5%, I felt great, so maybe next week I'll do 10%, maybe next week I'll do 20%. Don't jump up too soon. It's a gradual process, and the way that this is layered out tapers very nicely into working into heavy weights. So if you jump too quickly, you rob yourself of the benefits of working with the light weights. I think the other thing that you need to do is pay attention to your recovery. It's a hard program, especially once you start to get into that kind of middle zone where you're really pushing for high reps with weights that you've not done before. I would say that, you know, you need to get your sleep, you need to get your protein, and you need to kind of maybe take a bit of time for your actual recovery. So, you know, massaging the muscles, making sure that you stretch, maybe doing a bit of foam rolling, just whatever you need to do, so that you can stay nice and robust. You know, I know it's only 1 set a week. The reason that I've set it up like that is because I think you can accumulate a lot of fatigue doing this program, so I really do like to kind of cut it down. But even then, you can definitely get yourself into the ground with your recovery, so just watch it, keep an eye on your recovery when you do this program. So that was it, that was the program, that was the protocol. You know, just to kind of summarize it, you're working on low percentage AMRAPs that scale up 5% every week. Once you find yourself not being able to do 5 reps, you reset by adjusting your training max and trying again. This is where keeping notes is important, because you want to be, every time you reset the block, you want to be comparing it to what you did last block. You want to maintain good form, and you want your form to be consistent. And the number one thing is to pay attention to your recovery and make sure that you're following the program as written. You don't want to drive yourself into the dirt by progressing too quickly. So there you have it. That was my very simple system for how I added 30 kg to my deadlift in 4 months. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you liked it. Really kind of shooting for the hip with this one, trying to be kind of nice and quick with it. Just kind of covering a smaller topic, but it made such a difference to me that I thought I would be amiss not to share one of my favourite techniques that I think I'm probably going to pick back up again. So you can let me know down below, is this something that you've struggled with? Do you struggle to progress your deadlift? Have you tried anything like this? Are you going to try this? Or do you disagree with the method that I've chosen to progress deadlifts with? You can just let me know down below. If you like this video, please like the video, clicking the bell notification so you can stay up to date to the next one.
so you clicking the bell notification so you can stay up to date with the latest videos that I produce, and please subscribe so that you can see some more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.